Well, here we are once more. Another Wednesday come and gone. Life is slipping through my fingers. Hi, everyone. How are you doing? I hope you've had a great week. This is your midweek fantasy fix. I would very much appreciate you if you were to give this stream a like and share it with a single friend right now, because it makes this so much more fun to have a bit of an audience going. We've got quite a number of people in the chat, but before I get to shouting some people out, there is a certain Welshman that was supposed to be here today that unfortunately has had to go in for something of an emergency operation. Should be quite routine. It's one of those things where, 100 years ago it would have been the end, but now we can just sort of chop the bit out that's not working properly. And that is Dean Hill-Jowett. If you wouldn't mind remembering him in a quick thought or prayer, that would be fantastic, as he goes under the knife, I believe, this evening. Very, very gutted that he couldn't make it today. But he should be right as rain quite soon. Speaking of being right as rain, she lives! The Elven Maid Inn is back, and she is spamming her Twitter feed with elf boobs. So she is making a fantastic recovery. Emmy, it is great to see you. Both Modwife and I, hello Modwife, have been very worried about you. We're glad to see you back and still kicking. Who else have we got? We've got the Cup of Soda. Hello? Cup of Solo, not soda. Silly me. Sorry. I believe you are one of Agronac's cultists come to infiltrate my library. Hello. And we have Jeffrem Denkar. Hello, Jeffrem. It is good to see you, sir. You are always welcome in the library's little chat room here. People are saying Jackpack. I would rather you not. The Commode Bear is in. He is over on Rumble, because we do stream over on Rumble. Thank you very much for being here, sir. Who else do we have? Who else? We have Aaron Lind. Hello, sir. Hello. And I believe there were one or two other people that have now disappeared off into the ether, up where I can no longer scroll, that were chatting before the stream began. Welcome to all of you. Now, this stream went a little bit awry, because I was going to do Cometh the Welshman, like, oh, here come the Welsh, the invasion of the Welsh. But I only have one Welshman. Dragon, actually. So you're going to have to put in a good show for your countrymen, sir.
All right. I'll start singing the Welsh national anthem.
You have a national anthem?
Yes, we're a nation with an anthem. Have you never watched rugby?
No.
Good, you ain't missing much, to be honest.
What's the national anthem, then?
I don't fucking know. It's all in Welsh. You think Welsh?
No, it's all in Welsh. No. I remember I was in deepest, darkest Wales once upon a time with my father trying to find a place, and it was very much a Welsh area. And I think they gave us wrong directions a few times on purpose, because they heard our accents being English and didn't take too kindly.
Yeah, they want you to just die in the mountains.
Yeah, well, sucks to be them. I'm a scout, a Boy Scout. I'm always prepared. Were you ever in the Scouts?
No.
No, you didn't miss much.
Waste of time. Why would I ever need to be in the Scouts? Am I going to find myself stranded in the wilderness anytime?
You do have wings. You could just, leave.
Exactly.
Right, who we got? Oh, it's the Trouble Cat. Hello, sir. Careful, the wife is on duty in chat, and she will find you and hang you if you get too flirtatious. Right. she's yeah, the threats are flying. Anyway, who else should we bring in other than the star of the show? For I have had to sort of pivot a little bit. We were going to have Mr. McCarthy, the person running the charity Gobstein game. I don't know if you caught much of what that was, Brath, the last time this was a part of the stream.
I have a very, very vague idea.
Well, we have... Cymatics is here. Welcome, sir. We have with us, once more, my patron, Quinto Goodbarrel of the Halfling Merchant League. Hello, sir.
Howdy. By the bean, it's great to be here.
Wow, that is a lovely clear mic. I don't know how you get such technology back over there in the realm of Gobstein, but how goes your campaign, sir? Have we won yet?
We are alive. Half the
You're alive.
were genocided.
Oh,
So that
good.
was
Yeah.
not great. Because humans can't be trusted.
Yep.
And then we have our epic conclusion coming this upcoming Saturday. So that's gonna be a lot of fighting, and I will be hiding under a tree somewhere, probably with coffee. So if anyone wants to join me under the tree to watch the fight go on, we will be happy to share coffee. I might bring some tea. I know that
Yeah,
you
well,
prefer that.
am I still
but
alive? Is the NPC that is based on me still alive?
Yes, your
Oh,
NPC
good.
is still alive.
Hey, I'm alive.
Because you weren't a halfling and humans are kind of stupid, so they got confused and didn't realize you were associated with us.
Well, there you go. I can do the whole triple agent thing. Right. Before we continue on the path of Gobstein, we have one more person to bring in for now. There might be someone a little later down the line. Tardy as always. He's got a nano us like it's nothing. It is, of course. Oh, hello, Ultra. It is, of course, the graph paper architect. Nanu.
There he is.
Bloody Nanu.
Yes.
Talk about cutting it close, man. Anyway, we're going to come to you in a moment with some Wizards of the Coasty news, because I do have a bit to say about it, because this isn't the first time that they have failed to provide on this particular thing. In fact, I spoke about this with Ryan David and Kyle Dinebury TT over on Nerd Cognito's Big Show a few times, that in 4th edition era, they were going to bring out a VTT. And I found out things about what was happening there that that kind of led to the end of it. But it is a dark tale, and I think left for darker hours. So... Oh, well, more people join. Jack McCarthy is in the chat, but not in the stream. How dare you, sir? And Silview, I'm Silview, says it's Wednesday, my dudes. It is indeed Wednesday, my dudes. And we will... it's just... We've got to get over this one hump day. I don't know about you guys. It's been a week. It's been a life. We are well into the busy season now, and I'm coming home, and I am just crashing. I am dragging myself to these shows, but it is a bit of a... Once I'm actually going, once I'm talking to people, it's very much an upswing in both mood and energy levels. It's strange how it works out. Right, what do we talk about first? Do you want to do Gobstein first, Halfling, or do you want to... What's first? Or do you want to talk about...
I want people
go on.
to remember Gobstein, so let's go ahead and do like Wizard's Drama or something first.
Okay, sure. Okay, we'll do the Wizard's Drama right after this special word from our sponsor, and that is, I've got a very philosophical question for all of you. Okay, let me throw it up on screen, because this is, as I say, it is a philosophical question of the greatest import. Right, you ready? You need to answer this question. It's going on stream now.
Yeah.
For those of you that can't see, the question is, what is the real color of emerald? Is it blue, green, red, or black?
It's not a trick question, by the way.
Really? Okay, then.
Yeah? No one want to take a crack at this incredibly complicated question?
I don't see chat lighting up. I don't see anybody
there's a delay
saying
there,
anything.
but I'm talking to you three. What is the real color of an emerald?
What is the real color of an emerald? I believe it's green.
You believe
I
it's
could
green?
be wrong.
You're wrong. It's red, obviously.
Yes, I might be wrong.
Quinto?
I'm going to go ahead and say green because that's what I see.
Oh, obviously.
And I'm going to stick with that.
It's red, obviously. Look at the votes. Come on.
Mm-hmm.
Brass,
I don't
come on.
care about the people. They're dumb.
Well, I'm the one that voted
I vote.
green.
Is that what's going on?
This is just something that Brass sent me, that he found someone asking this question online, and obviously they've done it as a poll. But for some reason, red is winning.
Yeah, I keep seeing these randomly on YouTube. I don't even know who this guy is, but I keep seeing these random polls, and almost every time I click on them, They get a lot of votes. Well, this had 750,000 votes.
Bots.
And 75, that's my theory, 75% of them nearly voted red on an emerald.
Yeah.
That's what
That's
I mean.
gotta be-
A trick question. It's bloody green.
Yeah.
When I clicked on it, am I missing something? Is this some kind of weird, like, science?
Is it me? Am I wrong?
Light blue? No, it actually isn't. It's all these wavelengths of light. No, it's just you look in the comment section of the thing, and all it is people going, "Wait, why the fuck are people so stupid? Why is everyone voting red?"
Yeah, it could have been set up that way just to get the attention. So, yeah.
Oh, the dragon is large.
It's rage bait.
There we are.
Rage bait.
That one? This one. There we go. I fixed it. Yes, it's one of those stupid polls that I found quite funny, so I thought I'd make a bit out of it. and look, my chat is all saying green. So the correct answer, obviously, the wife has, and that is the correct color is shiny. Oh, the ghost of Tanalorn is here. Might be red-green color blindness. It could be. But your name has actually reminded me of something, sir. Have you guys played the Jedi Survivor series? Neither have I. But there is a character in there, and he is an albino dark Jedi or Sith with one arm, right? And he wants to go to a planet with a name that sounds suspiciously close to Tanalorn. And god damn it, Elric has appeared again, and no one realizes it's him. His disguises keep getting thinner and thinner, but no one realizes that Elric is infiltrating places. And I have been reminded of that by the Ghost of Tanalorn being in chat. The Amazing Gaming Studios, Amazing Gaming Productions is here. Hello, sir. Welcome. Glad to have you. But okay, so look, I'm getting way off track. GPA. What exactly has happened to Wizards of the Coast's virtual tabletop?
Well, it seems that they have decided to eviscerate their VTT program and team. Supposedly, it's been reported several places. I kicked it over to Neon as well. He reported on it. 90% of the VTT team seems to be gone. So they have almost TPK'd the VTT team. And I'm going to try to come up with some more acronyms. No, we'll just make it sound really military. We'll make it sound really, really military. Almost TPK, the VTT, dude, they took the AC and they took a dump on their THACO and whatever. But so it looks like from the insider scoop, and now it's blasted all over the internet, that they've just gutted it. Man, why they've gutted it, we don't know. No one seems to know exactly why. Speculations range from they're replacing them with AI. D&D tanked so hard that the corporate has decided to pull the plug. They may be outsourcing, so they might have decided to say, well, let's just hire a bunch of virtual assistants everywhere else, you know? Lol, the VTT was a failure.
Hey, DM Wisdom's in the chat.
I just read that in Zoth's voice. I can hear Zoth. VTT's a failure. That's a bad impression of Zoth. I'm going to get in trouble. The cult is going to burn me at the stake.
Well,
normal, actually, probably.
Him being in the chat, and while he's here, perhaps he wouldn't mind sharing the stream to his thousands of followers.
5,000, over 5,000. They had a really fun. It was a nice gathering for St. Patrick's Day. But yeah, it looks like
cannot be more well deserved than
I don't know.
Studios DM Wisdom, because the amount of quality content that man puts out is insane. Like, I just do these little things, and I have little chats. But that man has like production value, puppets, acting, and all the rest.
It looks so good.
Yeah, he just puts me to shame.
I use Yammer in front of a whiteboard, but I haven't even done that in a while. So,
well, thank you very much, sir. He's actually went and did it too. The guilt trips work. Speaking of guilt trips, like the stream, everybody. Right, where were we in terms of WotC failing on this point?
Yeah, WotC decided to so they've gutted their VTT. We don't know why. We don't know what's really going on, but it seems that, and it also seems that D&D has tanked. and it's all. I think the first what I saw was Professor Dungeon Master talking about how it's just tanked. I mean, everybody's
Yeah, I saw
there's
that.
no real hard fact figures. It's not as though we have a deep throat in WotC that's giving us real documents or anything, but it seems that all indicators are showing that people don't like 2024
So
D&D.
okay, the Jack Pack meme has risen its ugly head once more. I will squash that at some point. The
You're never going to get away from it.
I remember throughout last year, multiple headlines coming on saying that Hasbro has announced that D&D 2024 is the fastest selling Dungeons and Dragons
Fastest.
Now,
and it's very interesting to listen to that because it's
indeed
how fast is it to click?
And I remember that the Brass Dragon and we use Roll20 quite a bit. Brass, what was foisted upon us without our asking for it? What was put into all of our games and we had to manually remove because it got in the way?
Oh yeah. So the free 2024 rules, that was SRD, I think they call it. That just appeared in Roll20 and was just added without. We didn't put a check mark on our content for that to be added in. It just sort of got added in. So every time you look up a spell, like, I don't know, Shocking Grasp or something like that, and go to put it in your character sheet, it's like, oh, this is the 2024 version. You got to upgrade to 2024 to use this one. And it's like, can you fuck off? But
I mean, even better than that, though, is when I went onto X/Twitter, whatever it's called nowadays, I tagged them. I was like, hey, Roll20, can you please stop giving me the D&D 2024 rules? It's getting in the way. I don't want them. Why are you automatically adding these into our games? And they actually replied to me and they said, we're sorry you find this as a negative. We're doing it so that everyone has the opportunity to have the rules. And so there's basically a sorry about that, F you kind of moment, very corporate answer, which was very funny. It's incredible. But I realize the Halfling Merchant, when he's not playing Gobstein, he's doing sort of solo play, so this might not be affecting him too much. Unless it is affecting you. Are you a purchaser of D&D 2024, Quinto?
Gosh, no. I also play with other people too, but mostly at Shadow Dark and OSE.
Well,
Those are
doing incredibly well right now. We did an entire... in fact, if you guys want to go and listen to me and the Nerd Cognito guys talk about Shadow Dark for an hour, that was released on Tuesday.
I have been seeing a lot about that. I still don't know what it is. I know it is
D&D 5th edition with a more hardcore classic core to it.
So it's 5e's Pathfinder.
Shadow Dark? I thought Shadow Dark wasn't 5e.
It's not. I'm just trying to say that it's very similar.
It's super stripped down.
Oh,
it's more like classic D&D with 5e pieces.
Fair enough.
Okay.
Anyway, in terms of the sales of 2024, we've been saying now, I think for about half a year since those headlines started hitting out, I was saying I don't really believe this because their packaging, really. Look at that, guys.
Now it's for sale in all of my merchant wagons. So if you go to Gobstein, you can pick up your own Jack Pack pack.
Brilliant. Fantastic.
Jack Pack.
It was Theodore who made that. So kudos to Theodore for making that. I just put it on my screen.
He's Liverpool. He's a good bloke. I like him quite a bit. Hopefully his new job is going well.
Oh boy.
Completely threw me. Where was I? Oh yeah.
Sorry, I'll take it away.
I was saying for a while that I think these numbers are being very cleverly manipulated. Because if you remember, they made a big stink before D&D 2024 released initially that it would not be on discount shelves for a long, long while. Well, what happened at the end of last year or the beginning of this? Onto the discount shelves, it went on Amazon. There was a substantial, hefty discount on the Player's Handbook, I believe. So that kind of raised some eyebrows from me. And then to counter to say that, we had, I think it was the RPG Pundit I saw it from, releasing statistics that said that the numbers aren't actually as good as Hasbro is saying. And you start noticing less and less people, apart from, the look at this broken build I made, people are actually talking about 2024 online. Everyone's still talking about 2014 or older. And this edition to me seems to be floundering in the water just a tad, especially, but it might be that the VTT is actually done. Because I remember that Professor Dungeon Master played it, said it was good.
I don't know that it's done. They said that the guy that reported it said that it wasn't complete. That they
Well,
hadn't
it might be
completed
close
it,
to
but
being done, and they're trying to
it's
shed
true.
weight. This is what they
And
do.
sometimes they'll do that with software. They'll get it 90% of the way done, and then for polish, they'll just like, oh yeah, scrap the whole dev team, farm out the polishing to, whatever.
Well, look what happened Christmas 2 years ago, where they finished working on D&D 2024, and then at Christmas they sacked a load of staff, writers and such. Do you remember that, Brass?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I mean, that happens all the time.
But it seems to me that maybe they just don't need this extra weight anymore, and that's why they're doing it. However, an interesting parallel to this, who here owns and has played quite a bit of Dungeons & Dragons 4th edition? I have.
Nope.
I know you and those two can't wait, raise their hands. But in the 4th edition core rulebooks, there are advertisements. I still have them. There are advertisements for a 4E virtual tabletop, which was in production for a long, long time, and throughout like that era from 2008 through to 2010, 12, whatever it was, I was eagerly anticipating release of this VTT because as a kid, I lived really far away from any one of my friends that played D&D. And so we were looking forward to a VTT where we could play together without having to get our parents to drive us from one place to another to play. And that VTT never happened. Fast forward to 2024, where Ryan David tells me what happened. Now, I hate doing this because they're dumb, but trigger warning. That VTT back then apparently ended because there was either one or a spate of self-deletions. And the developer team was rocked to its core by the loss of life. And so that cancelled that project, which is where the 4E VTT went. That's what I was told by Ryan David. Whether that's actually the case, I cannot confirm. But that is what I was told. But it wouldn't be the first time that a VTT from Wizards has crashed and burned.
The thing is, right, with this VTT, I know most of us here are not interested. I had no real interest to playing it. Even we've got a player in our group, me and Jack, from Norway, and he's very outside of the whole D&D sphere or political sphere. He plays D&D. He likes to min-max. He's one of those sort of players. You know, if you were to ask about a rule, he knows it all. He's the rules lawyer.
He's very handicapped around.
Even he said, and he's the sort of person that would normally jump on this sort of thing. He loves Baldur's Gate 3 and all that sort of thing. Even he was like, he has no interest in playing it. It seems too video gamey. It's in that horrible middle ground where like a normal VTT like Roll20 is usable. You can still have theatre of the mind. It's not as good as playing in person, obviously. And then an actual video game like Baldur's Gate 3, you know what you're getting into because it's a video game. You know there's going to be some restrictions. It's not going to be as free-flowing as D&D.
Mm-hmm.
But looking at some of the people playing this VTT on D&D Beyond or whatever it is, number one, it doesn't seem very accessible because you need to have a D&D Beyond like subscription in order to get on it. Number two, it seems completely incomplete. I saw someone who was messing around with it. I can't remember what the video was about, but he was just fighting some monsters. I think he was doing an Asmongold's house as a dungeon in it. And he was like, yeah, we don't really have a MIDI for this. We don't really have a MIDI for that. We don't have a MIDI for this.
How many plague mechanics were in that?
Well, there was a lot of rats. Okay? But I don't think every like announcement, every like bit of tiny little bit of advertising they did for it seemed like it was early beta. And then it just sort of shadow releases a few days ago, or whenever it was, or last week, whatever it was. And like, okay, we've all heard about the VTT. I think everyone here knows what we're talking about. We know what it is, but it seems like they just didn't really. There wasn't a lot of advertising. There wasn't a lot of hype. They just kind of almost tried to sweep it under the rug, and now they've, as you said, they've fired the whole team. Is it the whole team or most of it? I don't know.
I think it's 90% is the number I saw tossed around.
And it's odd because this is the day and age where something like that on paper should work. I can understand Hasbro going, right, we need to have a VTT that looks like this and plays like a video game and is basically a complete computer simulation of playing tabletop. Because it's, we're in the digital age now. And most people, I would say, probably play online.
You're probably right, because a lot of the people that have come into the hobbies since Critical Role came in through COVID, and they have been playing in sort of lockdown situations. You are damn right. But I will say this: if people want to play with minis and they want to play specifically in sort of virtual environments, Tabletop Simulator is the best way of doing it. I mean, it's because you can sort of sit around an actual table, you can do whatever you want on that table and move miniatures around. It's a bit of setup.
And the rules in Tabletop Simulator are entirely up to you if you host the game. The problem with this D&D Beyond one is it automatically applies the rules for you. I've seen people try and move their character across the board, and it's like, you've got 30 feet of movement.
So the VTT is a rules lawyer.
Further than that, yeah, it literally is. It's like playing a video game. It's like, nope, you can't move further than that. I'm sorry, because those are the rules.
That's really funny. That's really, really funny.
I wonder if there's a way to turn that off.
Actually, you can't do that.
But like, well, then again, it's WotC. Maybe there isn't.
I mean, look, it's like imagine playing with Sean, and he's playing the game. He's on the VTT, but he's not moved his token in forever because he's not tapped into the game, and so the rest of the party is halfway across the dungeon, and now he can't get to them because initiative has been rolled because he's not been queuing up. Like, congratulations, you've just played yourself.
And it's like this, there's weird rules, like there's high ground advantage that automatically applies. There's, I don't know what else.
I suppose one of the benefits of using a VTT like that is you can have more complex mechanics be automatically applied to stuff. The big issue you're going to run into though is it's the version. It's when people start relying too much and then no longer know how to play the game. Yeah. Like Roll20, the character mancer in that, as much as it's a really nice, simple feature to quickly make characters, it is a crutch. Like, people don't read the character classes. They're, as GPAs likes to say, they're too busy on their plastic Pop-Tarts. And, it's they click options in character creation rather than read and choose options, if that makes sense.
I don't know. I haven't really been a huge fan of VTTs, except for when I need to play with people that would be quite impossible or extremely expensive to go and play. I could just, jump in my car and go down the street to your house. There's a bit of a pond involved there. So what the hell? But
believe me, I, having married an American, I am well aware of the pond.
Holy crap! That is a huge ring. My goodness.
Oh, so no, that's the wedding ring.
Okay. This is she gave you a ring of power or something. What the heck was that?
This is a Christmas present I had from her. It's the ring of
nice.
The ring of Barahir.
Okay. Beautiful.
Yeah, very nice.
What color is that?
It's red.
Yeah, I thought so.
God, that.
But I don't know. I've looked at Fantasy Grounds. I've played with some of the others, and it's like, okay, this can work. It's pretty good. It's good. It has the D&D 2E in it.
I always found that the easiest way to play was just Roll20 because it's the least amount of effort.
Yeah,
Mhm.
You
I
get
think it's the
in, you
most-
draw on the board. You don't need to have any books or rules or anything like that.
Well, I'm
It's
trying to
just-
remember. Roll20, I believe, is owned independently. It's not like DM's Guild or a
It's
portion.
independent, but very much linked, I believe. They've got a lot
Okay.
of special deals.
Yeah, they
'cause
do seem to have a lot of linkage going on, which makes me sort of leery of that sort of thing. And because the other thing that a lot of people don't really bring up a lot of that I keep reminding them is Wizards of the Coast's terms of service agreement. And it's right
Yeah.
there in section 5.2. And I've even got it right here. It's right there on their website. Licensed by Wizards by posting or submitting any user content or through the websites, games, services, blah, blah, blah. You give them a irrevocably grant Wizards a worldwide, perpetual, irrevocable, royalty-free, non-exclusive, yada, 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 yada. Basically, if you go in to your DM's Guild, or you use their VTT, which is now whatever, and you write down, Jack Pack, the Ultra Sorcerer of Packiness, super awesome, and he's got this magical spell, the Pack of Jack, and suddenly the monster is packed full of whatever marbles, cotton balls, whatever they're just.
Are you okay?
There you go. I have now created that wonderful IP, and there it is. But if I write it down in their VTT or anything like that, now they have a license to do whatever they want with it. It could be on the store shelves. And I've actually, unfortunately, encountered that when last time we talked about game design. I was telling everyone, remember, there are sharks in the water. I have pitched ideas and been told, oh, that's great. And but we're probably not going to use it 6 months later. It's on
There
the
it is on the shelf.
Exactly. And the thing is that, so I think that that's going to be part of what's going on. There might be some people that are really hopefully paying attention to this, that for one, Chris Cox is data mining all of the old stuff, and they're using AI for everything, and they want to do AI dungeon masters and blah, blah, blah. And then they're going to data mine anything and everything that anyone's ever put into D&D Beyond, et cetera, et cetera. Yeah. No,
I see.
for me.
Yeah, this is something that I'm well aware of. In fact, if I quickly go to the lostlawlibrary.com, which is my website, I will share this quickly. I think on our first stream, I actually shared this, but now we've got more of a following. I will share again.
The monster is packed full of lost lore scholar merch.
Brilliant. So
Suddenly just starts vomiting hats and t-shirts. Whoa!
This is something that Brass Dragon and I actually did quite a bit of work with, right?
Oh, okay.
He was at my house for a long while. We created all these 5th edition compatible items. Look at all these. Each with individual art. We paid an artist. We didn't use AI. We sat down and we started making all these items. And after this first batch was sort of nearing completion, do you know what happened? The OGL crisis.
OGL dumped on your head. Oh, yeah.
And so we decided we would just put these online for free and wash our hands of it, because we didn't want anything to do with possibly getting our asses sued. I'll put the link in chat if people want some of those items. They are not play tested in the slightest. Development was very much halted in a hurry. Beware.
Most of them are whimsical anyway. They're no power balance to them at all.
Indeed.
Oh, here you go, Jack. I just got another download for you. Call it, instead of the deck of many things, call it Jack's Pack of Possibilities. The Jack Pack of Possibilities. There you go. And you put all that stuff in there, and then you randomly pick them from the pack. You pick the pack of Jack Pack Possibilities. Yeah, I'm on a roll today.
I was going to have like these nightly orders of the library, and I was going to make like a Templar order, but for librarian knights. And it was going to be really cool, and it was going to be really thought out. It was going to be lore. People were going to have really cool titles. No.
Oh my goodness! Well, if you're going to have that, you've got to watch your UHF, and that way you can have your Templar Knight saying, "Don't you know the Dewey Decimal System?" Okay, where's my grognards? Come on, chat.
I have
anyone.
UHF.
UHF.
Well, that was Conan the Librarian.
Yes, Halfling. Cyber high five.
Huzzah! I have coffee. Otherwise, I would totally.
I forgot the halfling was here.
They're good at hiding, so he was just
Yeah,
chilling,
we're
and
very
we're just
quiet
like,
people.
"What the hell?" I don't see
Teddy
him
is
No,
anymore.
giving me
I
an
almost
update.
came in and ranted about Fantasy Grounds and how the original was good, and then the Unity tries to add all the rules like everything else, and it makes me
Mm.
cry.
No, rant away. But before you do, Teddy was kind enough to
Boy, it
send
brings me
a,
back in the day. I remember
Whoa,
creating
whoa,
all
whoa.
kinds of stuff for Neverwinter Nights. Remember when we could make Neverwinter Nights modules, Halfling, and
GPA?
Oh, that was amazing!
yeah,
I'm sorry,
it was
whose
awesome.
show is
Say
this?
something.
I loved
It
that.
is
Hello?
Jack's show.
Hello?
Totally awesome. And even back in the day, I was writing unlimited adventures modules back on my
He
old.
understands that I have the power here. I can just do
Oh,
that.
I played on so much IRC too. Like we would run everything through IRC.
Brass, can you see this?
I can hear it.
Like, it's just my show just got taken over by a couple of nerds going off topic. Good lord. I will say, good choice for going off topic. Neverwinter Nights is a fantastic game. I actually just gifted the entire of the original Enhanced Edition, including all its DLC, to the wife for her to go and play through at some point. But what I was going to say is, Teddy, before I was so rudely interrupted, has given me an update. The 4th edition... am I muted?
No, you're all right.
No. George... Teddy, you know what? I'm not going to say what Teddy said. You guys are back. What's going on? Apparently, the 4th edition VTT came to an end due to not just a self-deletion, but someone offed his wife and then offed himself.
That's rough.
Yeah.
They were on the dev team for it.
I think it was one of the lead
Yeah,
devs.
that's just not cool.
Yeah, the senior manager. No. I don't want to go too much into that because it is not so great. We are about to get an additional person in, though, so we'll welcome him in. Oh, excuse me, good lord. And then we will go ahead and talk about some other things than Wizards of the Coast, because screw Wizards of the Coast.
I know it does kind of seem like it's like some telenovela soap opera. Like the whole community is just like, "Have you heard what's latest on Wizards of the Coast?" Well, you know.
Well,
Dorothy walked in and said a one-liner, and oh,
it is. WotC is one of those Mean Girl type characters that people watch on TV. And they tune in just because it's a terrible person doing terrible things. That is Wizards of the Coast. Right. Who have we got going on in here? Looks like the chat has remained. Oh, Cyrus has turned up. Hello, Cyrus. Welcome, sir. And then it's we also have Omri 101. Welcome indeed, sir. Some extra chatters. Lovely to see you. Please do, if you haven't already, drop us a like, share it with one friend over on Discord. Just take the link now, copy it, pick a friend, paste it, send it. It really does help me out an awful lot. I really appreciate it. It's absolutely a simple, free thing for you to do. You don't even have to give me any money today. I just need the views, please. Right, we have a visitor. All the way from the games of Bad Toad, it's Jeremy. Hello, sir.
Greetings.
Oh, say again.
I said greetings and salutations.
Greetings, salutations to you as well. Hello. You've been on a little while ago now. I think you were on episode 3 or 4. I want to say.
Yeah. It was my brother and I. We're both on there, and then I think he made an
appearance as well.
Dragon, yeah.
So unfortunately, your Kickstarter for Mercs, Mages, and Monsters was not successful. However, it's appearing on Drive-Thru, I believe.
It will be, yeah. Our target launch date for that is we're aiming for May. Mm-hmm. We have to do some reformatting, a little bit of refining, and then unfortunately, even when we release it there, it's going to be missing some artwork because art is expensive, and so we have to drip feed that and then do it in updates.
Do an update. So will there be a physical copy, or will it just be digital?
We hope to do at least a soft back. We're gonna kind of see how the demand goes for the digital, and then hopefully do a hard copy because we'd love to do that. But we're gonna have to kind of see how it goes.
We're a little early in terms of me doing promotions, but I am going to drop your company's X in the chat there for people to go and give a follow to, just to keep an eye on that. We did something of a deep dive when you were first on. So we shall maybe when it's released on drive-through, we'll do something of a more special episode, and maybe we can try and set up a little game, like an hour's one shot. That could be fun.
Yeah, I could probably run the same one I did it.
We do apparently have a Rumble rant that has come in for $1 due. So we are now, we're now making some money from Liverpool. Let me see if I can find it in the chat so I can put it on the screen. Here we go. You can still do your librarian nights. Just put it together, and I'll lean into that just as hard as Jackpack. Look, the librarian nights is the deeper, more cool idea. However, it's not as catchy. It's not as good. As much as I rail against Jackpack, Jackpack is probably going to win out in the end. Sadly for me. Rip. Thank you for the $1, though. I appreciate that. If you guys want to support the stream financially, it'll have to be through Rumble for now, unless we can get ourselves over 500 subs on the Tube of You. And the only way you can do that is by copy and pasting the link to one friend each. Anyway, so Mercs, Mages and Monsters, Drive-Thru RPG, coming soon. And we'll go from there.
Yeah. Just keep an eye out. We'll do some updates and stuff and post it to X and any of our other socials. So just keep an eye out.
So there is another game going on, which I believe is either wrapping up or has just wrapped up. I do apologize, Quinto. I may be your lore master, but I've hardly kept up. I've been relying on your visits and the visits from Mr. McCarthy as well to keep me in the loop. So Gobstein, for those not in the loop, is a charity game being run by Jack McCarthy. Halfling Merchant, or Quinto Goodbarrel here, is a player in that game. It's a Braunstein style game where the players are in control of factions that are fighting for control of, I believe, a small continent and a couple of islands around it. In terms of where the Halfling is, I believe he is sort of a centrally located player. But I'll let you take the reins, Quinto. Tell us the story. What has happened to the Halfling Merchant League from the beginning, and run us through to where we are today.
Oh, goodness. Okay, super abbreviated version. But before I get started, do you want to cover the other Rumble rant?
There's another Rumble rant. Okay.
It just came in.
Right. It is Jeff from Denkar. Thank you very much for the Rumble rant. For a whole $2 dues, boys, where we can afford to eat today.
Nice.
He says, looking for advice. Working on a couple of things to eventually publish my own content on Drive-Thru RPG. You and me both, mate. What are the recommendations for people looking to release their first products, PDFs, for now? A great person to speak to about this, Jeffrem, would probably be Emmy, the Elven Maid Inn, who has released now 2 books on Drive-Thru, and you guys can go and get the issue number. Is it 2? Yeah, it's 2 books of Tales from the Tavern. Issue number 2 has an article from yours truly. Issue number 1 has a monster from yours truly in it. You can go and find Tales from the Tavern over on Drive-Thru RPG. Well, you're in the thick of this at the moment, Jeremy. So why don't you go ahead and give your thoughts to this question?
Getting stuff on Drive-Thru is actually quite easy. Just make sure whatever you work on, you format it to whatever it is they're formatting. Setup is their standards. So you don't have to do what we're currently doing. which is reformatting the entire book to fit on there. So that's 110 pages so far that we have to make sure line up to their little deal. But once you do that, put it on there, depending on if it's going to be 5e, whatever your flavor of D&D or whatever it is, set it up on there. You could do a cheap like $5 prize. Ours for the quick start, we screwed up initially and was put it for like $1 or pay what you want. People started throwing money at it, like $2. So we changed it to free so that it stopped. It kind of depends on what you want to go for, but the drive-through page itself, if you get enough hits on it, will start feeding its own thing, because I think it kept it up there on the main page for like a week for the quick start guide for mercs.
Nice.
But overall, I mean, it's a remarkably simple process as long as you like follow their initial directions. I think they give you a blurb on there on how to do it.
GPA, you're a little bit more involved in the business aspects of stuff. So you want to give a quick bit of advice to Jeff from here?
Well, as far as posting things to TTRPG, or whether you use Patreon, or whether you use Fourth Wall, whoever you're going to take the least bite out of you for when you go to distribute. So you want to check all that out. I put them all on a spreadsheet to decide, who's got the best deal and who's got the least amount of hoops to jump through, and do any of them have any kind of terrible things in their license agreementing or their EULAs or end user license agreements. So you want to check on that, make sure that there's none of that sneaky stuff like 5.2 from WotC, where, we own it, or now we might use it, or maybe we'll use it to feed our AI, or this or that, so you've got to be mindful of all of that. Also be mindful of, whenever you release something into a PDF, unfortunately, it's kind of, takes maybe 5 or 10 minutes before it's up on an FTP site. So we're very seriously considering just doing print. If that's possible. That's a whole nother animal with different costs and different problems and different things to workshop. But those are the things that I would do, is create a complete spreadsheet of all your pros and cons of all your different services, what you're going to do, how you're going to do it, and then go for it. Just get it out there.
As the wife says, spreadsheet. What a nerd. Anyway,
you can even use graph paper for your spreadsheet.
Oh, graph paper. We have
and a
another
whiteboard.
So thank you very much, guys. If you want to keep throwing money at me, I will not say no. I think Aaron has actually just gone and made himself a Rumble account just to show, to throw us some money at us. So artsy female knight armored anime waifus are always worth leaning into. Do you mean
waifus or
like this one?
Isn't it pronounced waifus?
Waifu.
It's
wife. Ooh.
Waifu.
Anyway, this is I think this is what you're referring to, as I posted this earlier on. This is using AI art. Yes, I know, bad. But my artist is AWOL at the moment, so I use this instead. And this this is Aurelia. She is both a true-born and bastard daughter of Torvivan. And if you guys want to know how that works, then you'll just have to eventually read the story when I eventually get writing it, eventually finished, done, eventually.
That
maybe.
will literally never happen.
Never happen.
That's as likely to release as that game you keep talking about.
The Wayward Realms is going to be phenomenal. I will hear no other, I will brook no argument. Anyway, yes, here is a waifu.
Waifu. Yeah, the problem with graph paper is, though, sometimes, Cuppa, is that sometimes I get a ring from setting my cup of soda on my graph paper. Ooh, and then it goes bad. It's usually just water or coffee. No. Boy, coffee's amazing.
Right, so
coffee is amazing. Find good barrels reserve.
Speaking of good barrels reserve, shall we try and get on to Gobstein before we get interrupted again?
Gobstein.
We'll see if anyone else throws money to interrupt us, because that would be a really funny game to play and make Jack a lot of money. So with Gobstein, I am the one and only coffee merchant on the entire island. So I'm very much a fan of trying to plug my coffee. The way that the game started is a bunch of the goblins decided to form their own state, which is weird because normally goblins run around little tribes. And that really, really freaked out some of the humans. And then one of the humans was also freaked out by the undead and just started burning his own land, doing all kinds of crazy stuff. We tried to take in as much refugees as possible, but then he started burning all the bridges. And that interfered with my trade. So I could not let that happen. So I partnered with the undead, who offered to help me. And we took out some of his soldiers, and he got very mad and decided that it was a holy crusade to genocide the halflings. So many of my merchants lost their lives. I don't know why you think this is funny. It's very sad.
Sorry, it's the holy crusade against the short
Beast.
people.
Yeah.
It's only not as sad as it probably should be.
Yeah. The dwarf made peace
It'd be a
stuff
really
happen.
short campaign.
One of the goblins did kill the human that completely lost his mind. I was stabbed in the back by one of my friends. But if you want to get the full story, it's in the videos that I'm posting on Ets. And also, we are having the big final battle happening this Saturday, and that will be on Rumble on Jack's channel, and that should be a whole lot of fun.
Not my Jack channel, the Jack.
Different
channel.
Jack McCarthy. Yeah, the other Jack, the one that's not quite as cool, the one that's not a librarian, the one that doesn't have a Jack pack.
I mean, he does have a better beard than me. I'll give him that.
That's true. His beard is better than yours. And he does DM for me, so I have to say that I like him a lot. But I'm your grandest champion when I'm fully out of character, which means that you win.
Good, good indeed. I win. Yeah, I've put the link to your X channel in the chat there, so you guys want to go and click on that for his videos.
That's awesome. But the absolute most important part, though, is we've been using this as a fundraiser for St. Jude, so we've raised over $2,700 for St. Jude with it. And throwing money at us lets you change the world or bolster a faction. So if you want the halflings to completely dominate, just donate $100 to St. Jude and tell Jack McCarthy that you've done so and you want it to go to the halflings, and we will totally stomp all over everybody and bring peace and love to everyone and make sure that they all get cakes.
I like cake. Right. No, that's very nice. I am glad that the halflings were only half genocided. Half halfling. Rather than fully destroyed. It is the Iron Empire. Hello, Iron Empire.
That's right. The halflings were cut down to size.
We have another Rumble rant. Aaron
I'm gonna run away if you guys keep doing this.
Aaron Lind says the Jack Beard Fund. Thank you for the $2 that it costs you to say that. Excuse me, I need to throw a slipper at the cat. She's destroying the furniture. Stop it. That's it. The wife's going to go and detain the cat. What would you sell to undead? More embalming fluid? Says that's a good question. Actually, what are you selling to the undead?
So the undead
Sneakers.
are the elves as well. So they have living elves, and the elves will drink coffee. So that totally works. For a while, I experimented with other things that aren't so savory, and they seemed like that, but I just didn't have the stomach for it.
So savory? What, like human limbs?
Yes, and drinks infused with human blood. Not savory.
Are we the bad guys?
No.
They're just recycling.
But
Yeah, no, that-
all body parts.
Yeah, reduce, reuse, recycle. That's all we're about.
It's a generous thing to be dealing with.
Oh man, I don't know. Like my human supremacy is kicking in here.
Oh boy.
Some of my halflings have started rising from the grave too. Like they're vengeful undead halflings and trying to get a hold of them and control them.
Sounds terrifying. Actually sounds terrifying.
They're like ninjas. It's awesome.
Well, I was going to bring the Wheel of Doom up, but it appears that I have lost it. I no longer have a Wheel of Doom.
We do have
mental
another topic to
wheel.
come up with that I was talking to Emmy about on X,
Oh,
if
go
you're
on.
interested.
Yeah, go for it.
All right, so Emmy posted, there's one thing I cannot grasp. Why do we need romances in every bloody game? And she goes on to have a lovely discussion here about Assassin's Creed and romancing and why we have to have romance and all this other kind of stuff, in which I threw up some snarky comments. I was feeling snarky about it. So if you want to see the stuff that I did, yes. No, it would never happen. Never happen. No. But it did bring up a good point. One of the things that I asked her about. Yeah, there it is. And then my replies are somewhere in there. But was, why romance in every game? And I started thinking about, of course, our favorite hobby of tabletop. And I started wondering when the first instances of, oh, I'd like to roll for seducing the barmaid happened. I mean, it must have happened. It was probably
well, I mean,
even from back in the day.
Gygax included the harlot table for a reason.
Exactly. And then there was the harlot table, and then there was, all that stuff. So, I mean, so sex has always been involved. Romance, whatever you want to, if you want to call it, romance, sex, whatever. But those types of encounters have always been included in RPGs. But it seems that now, if we have an RPG, and I've linked that in my brain to your whole simulation thing, how we want to have simulators. Are we going to have simulators? That kind of thing. Does a tabletop RPG or does a video game RPG need to have romance and romance options in order to be considered a role-playing game? That's my question for everyone. Do we have to have it? Is it a role-playing game without it? By today's standards.
I don't believe it is a necessity, but I believe it adds a lot of depth depending on how you handle it. Get your mind out of the gutter.
That's the topic. It's your fault.
Look, I've been thinking about this myself, actually, so it's funny that it comes up. Should stop it. You guys all play Dragon Age Origins?
Yeah.
Dragon Age Origins, one of the main draws of that game was having some incredibly well-written characters that were romanceable.
Mm-hmm.
And then if you go, you fast forward, 20 years to today, you get Dragon Age Veilguard, and you get some romanceable characters which are not well-written. So there's definitely... Romance is one of those things that when it's done well, really, really does strike home. And if it's not done well, is a big problem. But I am always of the opinion that eroticism and the like has a place in fantasy, quite a big place actually. One of my favorite chapters out of Dragons of Winter Night was the Silvara chapter, where Gilthanas is basically just perving on her naked in the pond. And it turns into, romantic, lovey-dovey lovemaking. And it's really nice. So that is a part of character that I find incredibly intriguing. But I'm also well known for saying, why does it always lead to sex? On quite a few videos and podcasts and whatnot. But what do you guys think? We'll start with Brass. We haven't heard too much from Brass at this time.
So, my opinion on it is this. In a video game, the option for romance is usually going to add more than it takes away. But you, as the player, have to be the one that pursues it. One of my issues of Baldur's Gate 3 is if you're a good character and you're with your good companions, you do like 5 good things, and now they're all swooning over you. And every time you initiate dialogue, they're like, "Oh, would you like to lie with me tonight?" And it's just like, "Can you shut the fuck up? I'm just trying to
I'm trying to level."
I've got a tadpole in my head. I don't want this right now. Can you fuck off?
Not tonight, dear. I've got a headache.
But if it's the other way around, and you as the player, like, right, I really like Shadow Art. Damn, she's good looking, right? Then you can pursue that and work your way towards it. and it's all great. But in a TTRPG, there shouldn't be rules for romance, because romance should be entirely RP between the players. It should be consensual, and it should just be one of those things where if you're in the sort of group that does romance, great. Never force it. Otherwise, you're going to be on one of those TTRPG horror stories, and things go bad quick.
Yeah. Like, I'm a big fan of Fade to Black around the table because I can write some very raunchy stuff quite happily, but that's when I don't have 4 to 6 people staring at me as I'm describing something. So it's much easier for it to be justified in a story context, not so much a role play context, I think. Mr. Merchant.
So I like to totally allow that in my games, but they have to maintain eye contact with me as the GM the entire time. And it really cuts down on it a lot. And well, related, there's the Chef's Oyster that Black Lodge Games came up with, which is it's a whorehouse setting, right? It's amazing. But one of the first paragraphs in there is, "Don't be weird." This is all just to kick things off. If you feel the need to try to roleplay this, you're being weird. Stop it and go outside.
We're about to have someone come in and say, "Oh yeah, well, in the RPG, my favorite RPG of all time, Fatal. We could do all sorts of fun things, and if you guys don't know what I'm talking about, don't look it up."
Great.
GPA, do you have anything else to add on, or shall I straight on to Jeremy?
I'll come back after Jeremy, since I've got
Jeremy.
a few other things.
Yeah. As far as like the PC, RPG games, like I would say similar to Origins, how they did a good job. Some of the first Mass Effects, I felt like did a well job presenting like opportunities and stuff, building the characters and everything.
Simmering.
And, like, with everyone, it should be everyone's favorite stuff. Tally, later on you can't, first everyone's like, nah, I wish there was a tally, but you can't until like second, third game. And then I don't even remember the Mass Effect that doesn't exist. But they botched that one. Like, I've forgotten the name.
Andromeda.
I don't remember. Oh, thank you for bringing it back. And now I have to remember. But yeah, that one they botched. But in the tabletop setting, it doesn't often come up in any of the games that I run.
Same.
But like you said, and Brass did, if a table allows it, great. It's one of those things you do have to be careful with, otherwise you end up on the Reddit horror story kind of scenario, because people just don't know where the line is. And like I ran a majority of the games I ran with Dark Heresy, so the opportunity for those options to come up wasn't a lot. It was more anchored into the character's backstory of something tragic before they get picked up by the Inquisition or something, or I could have thrown in a character, I lost a loved one or something, but then because of the way I am, they probably died in the next like chapter or two of whatever I was running. Like, there's your linchpin tied in the Imperium, and they're dead. Well, that was sad. Moving on. But it built character.
It's character building. It's character building.
Yeah, character building. but yeah, so I mean, it depends. There's a place for it, and I think that place is kind of niche depending on the table, or actual good writing, which a lot of companies and corporations I don't think are good at anymore. They just throw everything in the kitchen sink at it and say, "Yeah, nope, there's your options. They're all terrible."
Well, yeah. What again? Around the table, we always sort of default back to TTRPGs on these shows, and that's for a very good reason. Although, I am going to be doing a little bit more on the video game and book side in the next couple of episodes. Plus, I have a stream on Friday with a very special guest, which I'll announce at the end of the show. But yeah, you're right. Around the table, it's a hell of a different ball game. Probably best to leave those things well alone unless you're very much in the know with the group. Like the wife and I, we've just had a pair of characters that we didn't start out as lovers, even though we're married in real life. But our characters over time grew closer together as the story sort of demanded, and yeah, they ended up tying the knot in more ways than one. But it was always fade to black. And Brass had to roleplay that with us. So it was great.
You bailed out right before the hag could take advantage of your relationship and turn you against each other. I had so many ideas, so many plot lines.
But now I brought in a paladin, which you kind of needed. We have a rumble rant. I'm going to veto any of us saying this rumble rant, Teddy. I appreciate it a lot, I do, but I don't want to get banned off of YouTube. And I've got a feeling this is something that would upset the censors. So I do apologize, sir, but I kind of want YouTube to continue going strong.
That's the problem with multi-streaming, because things on Rumble don't fly on YouTube. YouTube will put them smack down.
Usually.
Yeah, no. Yeah.
But, GPA, you had some extra thoughts you wanted to say.
Well, there's many rabbit holes I go down, and thinking about romance in games and thinking about the history of gaming, and there's definitely different. It's completely different from video games to tabletop. Obviously, if you're in a tabletop situation, everybody should hopefully be of consenting age, and then hopefully everybody's talked about it at least a little bit, and know what's going on. I mean, and play your table, and in our games are always like Vegas. That doesn't go on the internet. If we're playing, no, we're not going to be. Yeah, because if we're including romance in it, and it's like, oh yeah, my knight takes your queen. Ooh la la. We're going to talk about that and pick up the pieces and be like, go dark helmet on it and go.
There is a video game on Steam right now, which
and then take another shot,
which is Battle Chess, but the animations are.
Yeah, there's some stuff, but it's interesting to think about it that I mean, because you never really, we played games, we played video games, and it was never really a thought of romance unless you actually beat Metroid all the way, and then suddenly Samus is a girl. Like, whoa, wow! Now suddenly I think of Samus in a completely different way. Holy cow!
Really
oh my gosh!
Incredible for me.
I mean,
realize that you guys didn't know that. That was a revelation back in the day.
That was huge. That was a huge deal, and it was pretty cool. But anyhow, there's so many different facets you can go down, and so many different things you can think about. Whether or not you're going to include it in your game, whether you're going to have actual rules for it, are you going to have a harlot table, are you going to have just fade to black rules? So, as a designer, thinking about including romance written in and written well and written in a way that when we whiteboard this stuff, we'll come up with lots of different ideas. We'll think, well, maybe it's an expansion, maybe it's an adult only expansion, maybe we just have
maybe it's
new from TFG. This expansion is the AO expansion, and you shouldn't buy it unless you're at least 21, and don't include it in your games, and have it be tasteful, but have it be
in that
complete.
In that
or
point,
not. There's lots of things you can think about.
The original Monster Manual has titties in it with nipples. So it's like I am a great enjoyer of erotic fantasy. The wife and I have some erotic tarot cards over there with some really beautiful art on it. But it's like, there is a really stark difference between pornographic and erotic art. And I think that there is a place for both, depending on what you're writing, who you're writing for, and most definitely how old the people you're writing for are. But in terms of the fantasy genre, you can't escape eroticism because it is so baked into it. Now, I was thinking about this earlier on, like in terms of Lord of the Rings, there isn't really any room for it. It's not that kind of mythos. It's not that kind of story. It's trying to be a much grander ideal. Eros, to use the Greek term, doesn't really have anything in the Lord of the Rings. It's much more about agape. It's much more about these more lofty ideals of love and appreciation of beauty.
Right. It's written in a PG. It's you have to
However,
graft onto it. You'd have to put it in there to make it more than just PG.
You still do get Éomer and Gimli at the end of the Return of the King nearly killing each other over who's prettier, Arwen or Galadriel. So one chooses the morning, one chooses the evening. So there, even then, like to deny the erotic is to deny a core part of being human. However, a lot of the erotic stuff being put into modern video games is utter BS. And I say that as a man who's downloaded things from Lovers Lab.
Do you mean BS like in bear sides or bear backsides?
We got a rumble rant.
Is it B? Are we talking about bear?
We got a rumble
can't bear
rant.
it. I can't bear anymore. It's horrible humor.
Don't make me mute you again. Jeff from Denkar has given us more money. I appreciate it very much. For $2 dues, he says, I learned to appreciate Fade to Black after a 3.5 evil game, where the female tiefling wanted to help people find love using nothing outside of the Book of Vile Darkness and Book of Erotic Fantasy.
Okay, then.
Can I have her number? Right.
You better have that immune to fire potion, drink that.
Okay, so
Tiefling.
Jeez, yeah.
People are saying, that Vixen A is going to roast me for saying that we've got erotic tarot cards.
So here's a good question. Do you think that it makes it different games? Do you think that, because a lot of people will think you've got role-playing aspect, then you have a combat aspect, you have a wargaming aspect. Is the romance portion of a game in and of itself a mini game that is separate?
I'll go one step further, and I say that most games, I think, should have an adult component. I've been playing a hell of a lot of Daggerfall. You go into an inn, you're going to find a naked lady selling herself. There is an ambient eroticism to these settings, which I think has been lost over time and watered down.
It adds realism because
it's not just that it adds. It's not just adding realism; it's adding tantalization or it's a titillating content. Yes, grow up.
You really going for those rumble rants.
I don't think we can deny sex sells, but also it's a matter of if you go through a town and you're in a world where succubi and dark seducers and daedric seducers and wood nymphs exist. You're putting yourselves in the mind of mythology. You know what the basis of Western mythology has lots of? Sex, drugs, and rock and roll. Yeah. And it's if you deny these sorts of things, then you are sort of left with half a world. And even Tolkien understood this, because when two of the Valar got married, I can't remember who they were. They celebrated their marriage by the wife performing a dance for her new husband. So there are nods and subtleties to this male and female coupling, and now in the modern era, everything else as well. I mean, look at Achilles and his lover Patroclus. I think it was Patroclus. Don't at me. And so
I always just give you a pass on how you pronounce things, just because you're over there on that side of the pond. So you're going to say it wrong. It's okay.
I mean, Teddy puts it right. This is exactly my. This is exactly what I'm saying there. That's the point. Cyrus brings up Conan. Conan is full of just really raunchy stuff. The first story, Chris, you probably read it by now. The first story in that red book we both have is Conan attempting to have his way forcefully with a demigod. So there is a lot of this stuff throughout human mythology. And I've said before that fantasy is just a representation of all of human mythology given to us again. Stug says, Tulkas and Nessa, thank you very much, sir. I was drawing a blank on that. That are the two Valar I was talking about.
I will ask though, why would you think that people who write modern video games would be able to do any of this?
I don't think they do.
Just
They don't think
not
they
a
can.
thing. Like they need to just not.
I think
Yeah, they've lost their knack.
I
for
think
it.
that if you want look, the internet is the internet, right? Rule 34 is most definitely a thing. If you want good romances, you go to the Nexus. You got to get the mods. If you want those good romances to have some like just really straight up just porn, you go to the other website that I mentioned earlier on, but shan't again. And you know the internet and just normal people will put this stuff in these games. So I think the reason that it's necessary that these games have at least an attempt at them to answer the Elven Maid's question is that if it's not in there, people will put it in there themselves.
What does it take away from the genre of the game, though? I mean, part of what she was saying was that it's Assassin's Creed. You're supposed to be out there murdering people and doing things, assassination things. And
Yeah.
suddenly, and that's your mindset. I'm an assassin out here with a knife finger, blah, blah, blah. And then suddenly, maybe I'll just have a drink with the maiden and
the original
go
Assassin's
stabby,
Creed.
stabby.
The original Assassin's Creed I played quite a bit. And Altair had a romance subplot.
Yeah, but the thing is it stayed a subplot though.
Mhm.
Like with all those, the story beats and stuff. The main focus that they've kind of lost their way in is you're an assassin. You're going.
They've
you're
not been
doing
an
things,
assassin.
and
They've
like
not been
the
an
romantic
assassin
motives-
since I think probably Assassin's Creed 3.
Yeah, since they killed off, they finished the Desmond like character line and Unity and all that, and then they nuked it and went, "We're free range now."
I think if we were to go sort of more our bread and butter, we look at Baldur's Gate 3, as Brass was saying. Like I had massive issues with a lot of the writing in Baldur's Gate 3, the romance especially, because obviously the bear thing's a meme, but it is in there. I think we go in. There is a scene in there, I think, that goes into where mind flayers feel the most, and it becomes a little bit more Japanese, let's say.
Yeah, someone mentioned that in chat.
Yeah. But no, there's
They're like Twi'leks.
people are going to put it in. I'm more a fan of Togruta.
The fuck is that?
Twi'leks are better. Twi'leks are better than
Togruta supremacy.
No.
They're red. I like red.
No, Twi'leks.
No,
You can have
if you're
red
gonna go tentacle, you got to go Galaxy Quest. Yeah, just
Oh
go
boy.
full Galaxy Quest. That's tentacles.
Right, where are we?
Yeah,
based?
it's all good.
Where are we at present? We are about an hour and a half in. So I'm gonna put out a call for Q&A if people want to put some questions in chat. You can rumble rant them. You can just pop them in chat. Obviously, those people that give me money will be getting priority. But before we continue too further, this Friday, usual time, 9 p.m. GMT, which I believe is now 3 p.m. EST because you guys are an hour forward, is I'm going to be having a very special guest on the show. People won't know who he is here, I don't think. He was much larger back in the day. It is Variax himself. He began way back when. I'm talking over 10 years ago. An interactive Morrowind playthrough, which became something of a meme, where people would say, go do this in the game, and he would go and do that in the game. We are saying this is back when YouTube had a 10-minute hard cap. It's called Let's Interactively Play Morrowind. Variax, he will be on the show on Friday, and we will be specifically talking about Oblivion and the Oblivion remake that is rumored to be coming through very imminently. And I'm going to be showing him the Wayward Realms because I want to get him on board. He's very much a role play heavy guy, at least back in the day when I was watching him instead of doing my GCSEs. So you do go and check Variax out over on the YouTubes. He's very easy to find. He's prolific. He's been on the site for years. And I'll be very much looking forward to that because it's weird because he's popped up in my Morrowind streams, and it was very strange for me because I used to watch this guy play Morrowind when I was a kid in school, and then he kind of popped up in my Morrowind stream in the chat once. I was like, holy crap! It was very much a mind blowing moment for me. But that'll be happening on Friday. So I believe the stream should be catching up. So hopefully we'll have some questions coming through.
Well, you like to do
shall
plays, and I see you playing video games. Maybe you could do a little homage thing. We can put you in Skyrim and be like, Jackpack, attack that guard.
Yeah,
And
don't put me in Skyrim.
go
Go
do
do
the
exactly
rumble
what
and,
kind
like,
of mods will happen.
save up all of our money and
Yeah,
put in
I'm
like
waiting
50
for
cents a
Skyrim.
pop on the rumble rants and be like, kill that guard, kill that NPC, download that
Or
mod,
romance that
and then
guard.
You have to do it.
He's gonna
Romance-
mod it,
yeah,
so romance
oh!
the guard. Yes, every
Let's
guard.
make Jack go through all of the romancing. Yes.
Oh god, this is terrifying. Right,
That's great. I love it.
Jeff from Denkar, you are putting everyone else to shame. Thank you very much for the Rumble rant once more for another $2 dues. You're gonna put my non-existent child through college. What TTRPG books would you say are great buys even if you never play the system? I.e., good books you can mine for your own games that you think any DM should have on the shelf. I'm going to go first and steal the most obvious answer. Dungeons & Dragons, Advanced First Edition Dungeons & Dragons. All 3 core rule books. Great stuff in there, even if you never really read them all. You just sort of nick bits and pieces of it. You can't get better than the Ancient Magic. Jeremy, I'm going to guess. I can guess what you're about to say.
Yeah, but yeah, I mean, well, you could guess. One of the ones I would say would be Into the Weird and Wild. They also did like Cesspool and Citadels and a few others. And he did some of the artwork for us, and his name escapes me right now because I missed my lunch. But also any of the 40K like old Dark Heresy book. I mean, it's huge. You're never going to play the system, but there's so many random tables for the worlds, all that stuff. You can mine that for days. You want a citadel, you want a castle, you want whatever. You need some angry lords. I mean, it's all in there. You can just strip it down from sci-fi into your generic fantasy if you want, but it's good stuff.
GPA.
I was just trying to look over to my shelf over there, but
I thought you existed in
I
sort of
actually-
a red cube.
well, there's of course anything that was ever written by TSR, of course. So original TSR, the only TSR that ever was, really. I like guides from video games. Actually, I like to go through those and get the hint manuals when we actually had print manuals
When
in the
you have
boxes
print-
with the discs
I
back in the
used to-
day.
I used
and
to
you get-
read print manuals for fun.
Mm-hmm. So
Video
you can
game.
find lots of great lore there.
Mr. Quinto Goodbarrel.
So I would say the Without Number books are amazing for many of the same reasons the Warhammer books are amazing. Without Number has
Yeah.
lots and lots, like stars, worlds, in any of it. It has lots and lots and lots of tables, and it walks you through a very, very detailed creation method, which is really helpful. The other thing I would recommend, I'm not a story gamer, but I think the Fate books are good just because they start making you look at the role-playing games like a writer more than as a GM. So it really helps you with your pacing and also picking out those details that'll matter later and reinforcing those details after you've selected.
I do have the Fate book on my shelf here. I picked it up because
Fate is fun.
It's one of those things you can just pick up. You don't really need to. It's a very good Go system. Anyway, Brass.
I haven't got much of a range of experience, so I'm going to say 4th edition Dungeons and Dragons. But I'm joking.
That you joke, but I do still go through those books.
I was sat there reading the monster manual. I understood nothing of it, but I was like, you know what? That's a cool looking Orcus. But no, in all seriousness, the one other thing that I could say is me and Jack both own these books. There's a whole series. They keep releasing more.
Yes.
The Game Master's Guide, I think they're called, to Game Master's Guide to Dragons, Game Master's Guide to Random Encounters, that sort of thing. Third party, they're 5e related, but they blow anything WotC releases out the water. Like, you compare their dragon book to Fizban's Treasury of Dragons, and it's not even
No
close.
contest. No contest.
Like, the amount of lore and effort they put into it is,
And
and like, the books just look better. They look more professional.
It's also raw data. Is just there's so much more there. Yes,
Mhm.
I agree. That's a very good thing to bring up. Next is the only other question we've got, and then we'll sort of say our goodbyes. Who's Steve Jackson? Can you get Steve Jackson? Who's Steve Jackson, Cyrus? I don't know these
Yeah,
things.
Maybe.
Maybe. Ask him.
Maybe.
I don't know who
See.
he is.
Yeah.
Right, guys, we're gonna wrap up. So
Yeah.
I'll go through each of you, and you can tell people where to find you. I will start with, you know what, Mr. Bad Toad.
Yeah, you can find us primarily on X or under bad_toad_games. That's the majority of our stuff. If that's too long for you, just go to badtoadgames.com, and that has all of our other socials and everything. Also, as a side note, I found it's Charles Ferguson, Avery. That's the book. I always Into the Weird and Wild. That was the book. I always have like 6 or 7 books in my backpack because I'm always doing side stuff. But for that, there you go.
GPA.
I like your website. Oh, it's cool. You have this frog with this mushroom hat holding a scroll.
That's Harold. Yep, that is Harold.
Harold.
He's also on our shirt.
That is really cool.
Yep, he brings the good news of Bad Toad.
Nice. You can find me at Graph Paper Architect on Twitter. TacticalFantasyGames.com is still coming soon. We're still working on that. Also, Tactical Fantasy Games on Twitter. That's the best way to find us. And then anywhere Graph Paper Architect, Facebook. I've done some Facebook. I've done some, hopefully more, some YouTubes, some Rumble. You'll find me. But that is where you can reach me the best. And then we'll see.
Mr. Quinto Goodbarrel.
You can find me on Ets. It's just Two of Adventurers, and the link is in the chat. I have a YouTube coming soon, which will be a couple of adventurers. I do have a couple of adventurers, or maybe it's Two of Adventurers, on Rumble. So you can stop in there and get all of the history of the Gobstein Halflings. And hopefully new projects will be coming out in the not too distant future.
Well, Mr. Brass Dragon.
Brass Dragon 1 on Twitter, because I'm the one and only Brass Dragon. That I haven't, again, as I normally say at the end of these, I haven't tweeted in ages, so there's nothing to look at. Every now and then I'll tweet some ridiculously oversized dragon stat block that I've been working on, but I've been really busy having a week off work this week, so I just haven't had time to do anything,
Bastard.
I've just been playing World of
honestly,
Warcraft all day, every day.
Honestly, if you're not following the Brass Dragon, you should be, because when he does release those stat blocks, they are quite juicy. Guys, do please, before we go, Steve Jackson wrote GURPS, apparently, according to Cyrus. Before we leave, please do drop us a like. Do share the stream with your friends, because it does help a lot. If you're in someone's Discord server, just don't ask permission. Just go and throw the link in someone's server. It really does help me out a lot. Do ask permission first. Don't upset people on my behalf. You know what? Munchkin's a fantastic game. The Brass Dragon's super salty about it, though. But that's a story for another time.
Wait, Munchkin? I'm not salty about Munchkin.
It's a story for another time. Everyone.